And I just want to let you grass rats know, we got some new merchandise in our store. We got shop rags. We got mouse pads, or fluffy pads, if you want to call them that. And we also got stadium drink cups that say dinosaur juice on there for the little grass rats. And we also got long torso tees for you grass rats with long torsos. And we got all kinds of other shirts in stock, all different sizes, and all kinds of other stuff. You need to check it out. And there's your dinner. Woo! New merchandise in the store! Check it out! Get yours today.
Hey, babe, I got an emergency repair for you. You know what? Get this crap out of the way.
Hey, what are you doing? I'm working on a customer piece of equipment here.
Yeah, well, I need this now, all right? I'm in the middle of a big job and it just cut out.
Here, let me take a quick look at it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you doing? You don't need to take that off.
I want to look at the air cleaner. Maybe it's plugged.
It's probably just a spark plug, all right? Just throw a $3 plug in there and be done with it.
Well, why didn't you do that then? What are you wasting my time for? And plugs are $4.
You're the professional. That's why I brought it to you, babe.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at it. I was going to check the air filter. Then I was going to take a look at the plug.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Jeez, chill out! What's with you mechanics and your bad attitudes all the time?
I don't have a bad attitude. I'm trying to help you out. And you're trying to tell me how to do my job, babe.
All right, relax. I'll let you do your thing. But come on, let's hurry it up a little bit.
The plug looks good, and it's getting fuel.
Well, I'd hope it's good, honey. I just put a new one in a couple hours ago.
Okay.
Whoa there, Hercules! You're gonna rip the rope out of it. You don't need to yank on it that hard, babe.
I'm just trying to check it for compression, babe. I'm not gonna rip the rope out. I thought you said you were gonna let me do my job.
Well, come on, I need this thing now. Daylight's burning out there. I don't hear it starting.
Pterodactyl here. And today's video is gonna be on getting this lawn boy going. This is the one that goes with the loafer, the 24-inch lawn boy. So if you haven't checked out the loafer video, you need to check that out. But now we need to get this going so we can connect it to the loafer. First thing we're gonna do is remove this engine cover that got all smashed. And it wouldn't have got smashed had I known that I needed it. Oh, looks like Fluffy was in there. Now this is a D engine. So the difference between the C and the D is the D has an external coil, where the C, the coil was under the flywheel, like on the loafer. And then I can see that our gas tank had gotten smashed and our gas tank brackets are bent up. And the spark plug got broke off. It wasn't the right plug anyway. I could tell by looking at it. It takes a CJ14. And it looks like we broke off a bunch of cooling fins here. There's the plug. It was a pearl light, Pressel light plug. And our on-off plunger, looks like I'm going to be able to save it, because that's how we turn it on and off and prime it. And that seems to be locked up too on the carburetor. Oh, there it goes. That's how we do our priming. Alright, so I brought a spark tester. Let's see if we got ignition. Get around the other side of the cameraman here. So we got no spark. We bend this down. That got bent up. That's what controls our speed, low and high. Alright. So let me take the flywheel off, and we'll look at the points condenser. And if we can get spark out of it, maybe we can get it to fire up. Zip the flywheel nut off. Put the nut back on. Keep it up a little bit. Now this one doesn't take much to get it off, so you really ain't got to beat on it hard. And I could tell that it had been hit before. So just lift up on the flywheel and give it just a gentle tap. And off it comes. So now we need to remove that key. So I'll use a pair of side cutters for that. Pull that Woodruff key out of there. Then we'll just lift this all off as one assembly. Now this looks entirely different under here than that C engine, the way the governor and all that works. I've done some other videos on these lawn boys. And South Hammond Charlie did have a coil for that C engine that we worked on. So he hooked me up with the coil for that C engine. He's got a lot of Lawn-Boy parts, but he's only willing to share them with me. Let's see, oh, that gear got a little broke there. We need to lubricate that too. So hopefully this thing just needs a set of points. Now, to take this thing off, push that in, kind of hold it, if I remember right. This pin probably stuck. Been a while since I did these. There we go. So you got to pull this back and hold this pin. Let that drop down, and that'll shoot forward. You can take that out and you can just lift this whole assembly off. And then it tells you that this end faces the keyway. Now it uses the same points and condenser that C engine used. Oh, I gotta get a better screwdriver. There we go. Take that out. 11/32 is the nut on the condenser. We just need to loosen that up. Should be able to pull this off of there. So they look pretty nasty and worn. Sure, that's all it needs. Well, I got 2 sets left. So let me go grab a set and reinstall them and see if we got sparkage then. This thing is all twisted up. We need to lubricate that a little bit. I need to tweak that clip that's on there. Need some gel lube, which we sell in our online store. It's good lubricant. Alright, so here's where the spring is. There's the end of the spring. So I usually like to find that. And then, because that'll give you like an opening. And of course this can of gel lube, there we go, is about empty. Because we use a lot of it. There we go. I need to find a handle. I'm sure Southampton Charlie's got handles. I might even have some upstairs. I'll have to look around. Alright, let me go get the points. So these are new old stock aftermarket points. They're really old. That I had in stock. And I found a bag of starter handles. Now these are the newer designed ones. They're a little bit different because Taryl had bought Lawn-Boy at some point. So I think I'd gotten these from my brother Farrell when he gave me all them Lawn-Boy parts. So this was like the new version of it. And then it's got the Lawn-Boy number 609477. Charlie might have the original ones that look like this with that ribbing in there. This rope looks like it's about ready to break right there anyway. I'll put a new rope in it, but I'm just going to put a new handle on it for now. So there's no wick on here, this little wick that would rub, you know, to kind of keep the shaft clean or lubricated. I think you're supposed to put lubricant on there so it kind of keeps it lubed as this is running on there. And then it's got that little clip on in there again for the C engine. So this set of points would work on the C, and it also works on the D. It's got a different size nut. This takes the 11/32 wrench. So I'm going to swap out the nut so I don't have to go back and find another. I think it's 5/16 wrench. So pretty simple to replace the points. Make sure the contacts are clean, because sometimes they put like a preservative on there. So when they're sitting on the shelf, they don't get rusty or corroded. Come on, screw. Dang nabbit. Should have put the condenser in first. There we go. Let me get this condenser secured. All right. Now I can put the points on. Let me check this other half here. It's a shame that I let this thing get smashed up like that. Kick myself now for not just telling Dennis, yeah, I'll take the whole thing. And then she got all smashed up. So I'm going to hold this away. I'm going to open them all the way up because this part here has got the cam on it. See? This is what opens and closes the points. So I had to force the points open further so this will slide past it. And then we want this towards the keyway. There we go. Now I can release the screw. Now we want to get them to their widest point. That's closed. That's open. Now we can set them at 20 thousandths. I need to tighten this nut down too. And we'll put it back together after we set it at 20. And then we'll see if we got ignition. Okay, I got the point set at 20 thousandths. I cleaned them with a piece of paper, you know, between the contacts. So I am just going to throw this flywheel on real quick. Just to see if we got spark. And then if we do, then I'll go ahead and, oh, that's gonna rub. All right, let me hammer this down real quick so it centers that flywheel. We clean that magnet too. We get a piece of sandpaper. They say it doesn't really matter, but that rust kind of makes it, you know, it raises it up. Plus it's better, I think it's better when it's clean. All right, so here's our spark tester. Let's see if we got spark now. Oh yeah. Woo! There's your dinner. See, you just need a set of points. That was probably a lot of the problem back in the day. Because I know there's people that, I hated that Lawn-Boy. My dad had a Lawn-Boy. He hated it. Yeah, well, I'm sure it was a good mower when it was new and it ran. But like anything, if you don't maintain it, then you're going to have issues. That points cover back on. Put our 3 screws in. I'm going to have to take this off, try to straighten it out. Uncle Pat contacted me He said he's on the hunt for some Lawn-Boy parts for this. Maybe able to get them locally. Or we may have to go another route. Alright, now we need to install this with this. This fits in here like this. See, it's got these little, they put one on one side, one on the other. We hook our governor spring in there. Let's get it on here first. Let's get this on first. Put that in there. Get our governor spring hooked in there. So we need to get that, yeah, one on each side. You'll know because it'll do this. Oh, got that leg. There we go. Now, there should be a little bit of some of that white grease on there. Some of this multi-purpose louver plate. They say you should put on here. We'll put a little bit of that on there. Not much, don't go crazy. And then this, see there's a little thin washer that goes on there. We'll put a little louver plate on that. Wipe my hands off on my pants. Then this goes on, it says key. So you want that with the key. Let me turn the throttle down. Now we can put the key back in. Got to get this kind of pushed down a little bit. Kind of helps. Push the throttle shaft down so you can get that out of the way. And then when you, yeah, I don't have that key in there right. It's got to be more to the top, like that. The key, it's got to be kind of straight up and down. It can't follow the taper of the crankshaft. Got to be up and down. So the bottom's got to be in further and the top's got to stick out a little more. There we go. There's our dinner. It's all starting to come back to me. All right, tighten down. I am going to, yeah, this rope is short too. We'll put a longer rope in it, but we just want to make sure we can get it started. So put slip knot in there, your favorite band, and I'm going to cut it right here. We'll throw that in the garbage. Here's my torch, so we can keep that from fraying, even though we're going to replace it. We'll show you how to do that once we get it running, because these recoils can be a little tricky to work on. Plus we're going to clean all this nastiness out of there. But we just want to get it running. Just want to make sure it runs. Alright, so I need to put a new plug in it. CJ14 is what the old Lawn Boys would take. I don't want to lose any of my stuff. This wasn't the right hardware to hold that cover down anyway. So we'll get a CJ14. Get some of this nastiness out of here. And then we'll see if it'll start. Okay, now I'm getting ready ready to start it, I'm gonna squirt some dinosaur juice in there. Dinosaur cocktail. But before we do that, let's take a look at the blade on this thing. This 24-inch. So I can tell that's not a Lawn-Boy blade. That looks like some kind of universal blade they must have put on there. Because I'm sure this blade is probably hard to find. But it looks in good shape. It looks like it's new. Alright. So let me pop the air cleaner cover off here, which is loose. And pull out this air filter, which is disintegrating. And then I got my syringe with my cocktail in there. We'll just squirt a little in there and see if this thing will lick off. Woo! Oh yeah, it wants to start. There we go. Woo! So it'll probably run. Look at this gas tank. We never looked in there. Let me get that flashlight. I can tell it's clean as a whistle. Well, let me get my little light so y'all can see in there. Oh yeah. It's clean. Wonder if Charlie or Pat might have a gas tank. There we go. Good as new. All right. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to fill it up and get the primer and see if we get lucky and see if it'll start and stay running. Because unlike the C, which had a choke, this has got a primer. Try to bend this up some more. There we go. So the gas kind of runs to the carburetor. The gas valve's open and leaking. As it's wet, but I can still get that. So this is where this little stick goes, because I remember we used to run these at the shop with the blower shroud off, and we would turn it on and off with this. So let's try to make it so we could see if it's going to prime. So let me throw it back up here, and we'll see if it'll prime. Yeah, I think the needle and seat are bad because it's already dripping fuel just from putting gas in it. But let's make sure the jet isn't plugged. It's a little wet. All right, let's take it down and see what happens. Let's see if it'll start on its own. I'll take this out so the flywheel don't catch it. Stand over here. There it goes. So maybe the main jet is plugged. Now, remember, for those of you who watched the first part on the Loafer, remember I said there might be a low speed adjustment on the carburetor? Well, this one's got it. See? There's two of these little wheels here. Here's two wheels. This is your high speed, this is your low speed. So maybe if I turn this down, because that needle goes right through the main nozzle. So maybe if I spin it all the way down till it stops, the tip of that needle, maybe it'll poke through the main nozzle and start letting fuel in. So if you know anything about these lawn boys or you don't, this wheel, one of the little nubs on here, see how it's got these little nubs on the end of the wheel? One of them is sticking out further. I'll bring it around. See, this is the one. So that's how you know how many turns. See how it sticks out further than the other ones? And it's usually about 1 3/4 turns. So here's the end of it. I could feel it's right there. And there it is again. So that would be 1. And that would be about 3/4. And then here's the low speed one. I'll turn that in till it stops. That one was out pretty far. Now that one should be about 1 turn, if I remember right. And that one's a little different. The little nub on that one is kind of recessed. I don't know if you could see that. I gotta get new batteries for this thing. But that's the one there. And you could tell, you could see this thing is leaking. Needle and seat's leaking. It's dripping gas. I think I got a needle and seat. Alright, so that's closed. As long as you get close, you can always fine tune it. I'm going to go about 1.5. Let's see if it'll stay running. Alright, I got to hold this thing, otherwise the flywheel is going to catch it. It might send it flying. Kill wire isn't working. I tried shutting it off with this, and I don't know if it's just dirty, corroded. Because I hooked the kill wire back up. But it runs! We got it running! Didn't need much. Again, it's a shame that it got all smashed, because then I could have put it all back together and it'll look good. I tightened this back up, so I'm going to have to put a needle and seat in the carburetor, because you can tell it's still weeping. Not as bad. And I'm going to have to fix that kill wire and give it a pressure scrubbing. can't find the lid, I may have to try to fix this one, because it is fiberglass. I've got that fiberglass resin and that matting, but I'll wait on that just in case I might be able to find one, or maybe one of you grass rats has got one out there. Or if we had another brick top, we can make it match the one that's on the loafer. Have two brick tops. Yeah, see, it's really leaking still. Let me see if this thing will shut off again. We'll keep my screwdriver handy. Shuts off now. Just a little corroded. I just had to sand that a little bit. Sanded the bottom of that. Now it's shutting off. Now it's making contact. There's a screw under there it makes contact with. Alright, I'm going to shut the gas off because it's leaking. And then it's getting late. I'll put a needle and seat in it. I don't know if you need to watch me do that. It's pretty simple. You saw the other carburetor. It's basically the same. Still got those little wing nuts on the bottom. Just a pretty simple replacement of the needle and seat. I don't think you need to see all that. I'll get it cleaned up. See if I can straighten this out. Take this off and bend it. We are missing some cooling fins here. I don't know if that, but I could show you how to replace that rope. Well, I took the muffin off because I wanted to check the ports, plus I wanted to sharpen the blade. And the ports were clear. Now back in the day, somebody came up with a tool for cleaning these ports without taking the muffin off. And I'm going to be getting one of them tools, and we're going to do a little video on that. So one of the nuts was rounded and rusted off. And I had to pound a 10mm socket on there so I could get it off. Now I lost my 7/16 socket. Here it is. So I can put the muffin back on. And there was the original nut, probably in this mess from when I was cleaning the bottom. So I cleaned the bottom with our grass buster that we sell in our online store. So if you don't have one of these grass rats, you need to get one. This is the ultimate scraper for cleaning the bottom of a deck. So I cleaned that all up, sharpened the blade. I'll just throw another one of them flange nuts on there, since I can't find the original one in this mess. And I sharpened the blade, as I already said several times. And Dennis contacted me today, Buckets from Buckets Garage. And he's got a Lawn-Boy D engine that's a brick top. So I'm going to be getting that. So we'll probably replace this D with the brick top D. And maybe I can make the bricktop C engine recoil and gas tank and all that fit on top of that D. So it'll match the loafer. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is a universal blade that somebody put on there, and they did a pretty good job. And they welded in a couple of shims here to take up the slop for this. But it doesn't, it fits in there kind of tight. So I'm gonna kind of grind that down a little bit so it fits in there a little easier. All right, I cleaned it up a little bit. Now it fits in there better. Now, these lawn boys, they would always have a washer that went behind the blade like that. And then you'd put the blade on. And then this one's got that little adapter. So it makes it the same size as that, because like I said, this is a universal blade. And then they had another washer that they put over the top of it, but it's kind of thin, so I found a thicker one I'm going to use, because that'll help hold that little spacer on there. And then we'll go ahead, tighten that down. Good and tight. All right. So now we got that all taken care of. Oh, here's that old nut that I was looking for. Now I find it. It's all right. Got 2 new nuts on there. 3 if you count me. Let me get rid of this mess. Okay, I straightened out the brackets for the gas tank, and I straightened out this other little part. And then, of course, Dennis hit me up and let me know that he had that bricktop D engine. So we'll just keep it this way for now until that D engine comes, that bricktop D, which I don't know when that's going to be, but we want to get this done and get it put on the loafer and drive it around. I could always save this engine for something else, but I did straighten it out, straighten the brackets out, put the new needle and seat in there. The reeds were good. I just need to put a new piece of fuel line on there. And like I said, I put the new needle valve in there, so hopefully it won't leak. I thought I had a pair. There they are. Because when I went to take the fuel line off, it just tore off of there. But again, we're not probably going to be using this engine anyway when it's finally done. Because I don't like the way this lever rubs on the fuel line like that. And if you shorten it up too short, then it kinks it right here. And that's going to restrict the flow. But see, it rubs on there. But like I said, probably not going to use this engine anyway. Alright, let me put the dinosaur cocktail back in it. I didn't put a new petcock on there, I just kind of tightened that nut. We'll see if that worked. The tank doesn't leak from being smashed. I thought it might have punched a hole in it in that corner that smashed, but it didn't. And as you can see, I cleaned it all up. Got all that nastiness off of there again. So it's open. It's not leaking. All I did was tighten that nut, which puts a little pressure on that packing in there. Now let's wait and see if my needle and seat's gonna leak. And we'll put a rope in it. So far so good. Oh, and I want to boost the engine speed up. 3,400 is the max speed they want it to run at, but again, with this being a 24-inch mower and it's only 3.5 horsepower, it's kind of underpowered. So I think we need to boost the RPM. And I'll show you how to do that real quick. And then you can see where I washed it, and it's kind of a little wet under here still. So if I want to boost the speed, I just need to bend this arm up a little bit here. So I'm going to take a pair of pliers. Where are those pliers I just had? And I'm going to bend this up a little more. Then I'm going to blow this crap out from under there. And let me sand the end of this. This is our kill screw here. Let me sand that a little bit. So it'll kill a little better. I was working on the lid, but again, we're not going to have the lid ready yet. All right, where's that air blower at? We blow that out, put that back together, and then we'll pull that recoil off. So underneath here is a bolt. A 7/16 headed bolt. And that's what holds this recoil in place. And then there's this little retainer. And then you pop this out. And then they've got this rope clip on there. Now, on the later models, they just ended up welding this thing to the recoil. So it makes it kind of tricky when you go to put this back in. You've got to get this thing into place. So these recoils weren't easy to work on back in the day, because this thing has got to fit up in here like this. You got to get on the inside here, Mr. Cameraman. So this clip's got to fit up in here when you go to reassemble it. And this looks like this one's been bent a little bit here. Should be more squared off to help keep the rope from jumping off. So now the tension's off of it on the spring. And here's the rope. Looks like some insulation or something got in there. And you can see all that nastiness in there. Plus I sprayed that gel lube in there to help lubricate it. So now we gotta pop this clip off so I can get this starter gear off. I don't know if I have another one of these. It's got a chipped tooth, kind of like mine. And then we've got 3/4 inch screws here. So I gotta go get a 1/4 inch socket. I don't have one. Hold on. And then the rope will be in a little maze. It'll go through a little maze to hold it in place. See? It goes through a little maze, just like on the C engine. And that goes through a little maze too. So I'm gonna go to the parts washer. I'm gonna wash all this out real good. And then I'm gonna cut me a new piece of rope. And then I'm gonna look for a pinion gear upstairs. And maybe I got one, maybe I don't. I don't know. We'll find out. So I don't have a new pinion gear. I looked. I probably did have them. I probably threw them in the garbage. So I wrapped the rope through the maze. Number 4 rope is what I used. I melted the end so it doesn't fray. And then put your screws back in and tighten them down. Still not leaking. That needle had a big groove on the end of the tip of the needle. So that's why it was leaking. So you have to look at that. We'll go over by the magnifier and I'll show you that old needle so you know what to look for. If you got a leaky carburetor, it's the needle and seat. The socket's all wore out. It's not gripping. All right, let's go look at the needle. There's the groove right there. Ow. That stupid thing stabbed me in the thumb. And that'll make it leak. Remember, the needle and seat is what controls the fuel, the flow of fuel. If the needle and seat doesn't seal, the gas is just going to run out of the carburetor. I got to fix this socket. I got to grind the end of it down. Gripping now. All right, there's our rope. Now, take some gel lube. Spray a little in here. Spray a little on this shaft. And we got to catch the end of that. Right there. It's got to go in there. I'm going to have to give it a little help. There we go. Bend it out a little bit. Sometimes you could get lucky and catch it. There we go. Did it catch? Nope. Otherwise, I'm going to have to take the spring out and wind it up. But if I can get it to catch, that'll save me a little bit. get it to catch. Come on. No, it ain't catching. All right, I gotta pop the spring out of there. Now I can wipe it real. Now I can really clean it. All right, there we go. There we go. I'll just wind it up. A little tricky. Be careful when it gets to the end, so this thing don't grab you. All right. Let the tension off. Now we know it goes this way because when we pull up on it, want the spring tension. You wind it the wrong way, you're going to bend up the spring, you're going to ruin it. So I'm going counterclockwise. Now I cut the rope longer than it needs to be. So we'll fill the pulley with it, with the rope. And then we'll give it a turn. One turn to put tension on it. Now I need to heat the end up. So this is a tricky part. Getting all this back together. You know what I should do? I should put the pinion gear back on. Where did it go? And I should spray a little lube down in here since I cleaned it all off. There's the pinion gear laying on the floor. Gotta put that on. Put this little clip back on. Later models, they also had a clip on here, on the end of the shaft, so it would hold all this together, because they realized how difficult it is to do this. I can take the tension off because I can wind it back up once I get it in there. It's been a long time since I've done one of these. These lawn boys, I see why nobody wanted to work on them back in the day, or if they did, they charged you a lot. All right, so now we got to get this on here, like so, and we've got to get this clip on the pinion gear on here. So you got to do all this at once. And you got to make sure that that clip is up in this spot. Now usually when you're doing this recoil repair, you got the flywheel on there. But you got to make sure this clip is up in here. This rope guide is up in that notch up in there. And then we got to get under there with our fingers because you're flying blind and you got to put this retainer back in. So now I can put some tension on it by turning the recoil. I gotta loosen this up a little bit. In the top of the spring, come over here, Mr. Cameraman. It's right inside here. The top of the spring here has got to fit in this area here. Now I just rotated it one turn. I'm checking my rope guide. See? See how the rope got on the other side of the guide? Just from me rotating it when I loosened it up. So you got to do a bunch of things at once to get this stupid recoil in there. These were real tricky back in the day, but once you did it a bunch of times, you got good at it. See, there's not enough tension on it. So I gotta loosen it up and go around another turn. Gotta get it loose enough to get that, the end of that spring. And you don't want to put too many turns on it, because then you'll over tighten the spring. I said the later ones where they welded that little rope guide, and it was a lot easier. All you had to do was just pop it up underneath there. You could have had the tension on it already. Can we go any more? Yeah, I'm gonna go one more turn. Still feels a little weak. I'm gonna go one more turn. Can wind that thing up a few times. One more time, but you get the idea. I'm gonna go one more time. I want to make sure it's got plenty of tension on it. All right, let's fire it up. Oh, wrong way. see if I can put more tension on that spring under here. Yeah. Let me try bending on this lever. Maybe I can boost the RPM. I mean, it sounds like it's running pretty strong, but I want it to run faster. So buried way up under there is the governor spring. Where's that light at? Here it is. Way in the back. Right here. Can you see my finger?
Not really.
See it? So if you put, like any governor, you put more tension on that spring, it's going to raise the RPM. So I'm going to try to bend that down. I'm going to need longer needle nose pliers than this. That raised it up a couple hundred. Raise it up a little more. All right, I bent on that thing. Let's see what we got. Close enough for me. Sounds good. Now I need to put an air filter in it and doctor up that lid, and then we'll attach it to the loafer, and we'll see how it cuts. Now that's got a sharp blade, new points, new fuel line, new needle, and what else? New spark plug, sharp blade, new rope. Should be good to go. Here it is, grass rats. Got it all hooked up. A couple of things I want to go over though before we take it out and cut grass with it is check out these wheel adjusters on the back. This is odd. I've never seen this before. This is how you adjust it. Get it, boy! Get it! This is how you adjust the wheels in the back. You pull up on this, and then you adjust the wheels accordingly. That one's frozen. See? And then you pick up on that lever, and then that locks in. I never seen nothing like that before. So that's how you do that. And then I was also curious, you know, when we had the wheels on there, why this thing would pivot like this. Well, now that I've got the 24-inch mower mounted to the front, the reason it pivots like that is so when you're driving it and you get to the end of your cut, you have to pick up on the front of the mower so you can turn. And then when you get ready to make your next pass, you set it down. So now we're ready to start them up and go across the street from the shop and cut some grass. Well, there you have it, grass rats. The Lawn-Boy Loafer. Isn't that wild? 2 engines that you got to run while you're mowing your grass. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat to ride. It's different, very different. Probably nothing you've ever seen. But yeah, it's cool, ain't it? Cool old technology. Basic, simple, and dangerous, like I said. So, if you haven't already subscribed to this YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the like button, subscribe button, and all that stuff. Go to our web store, check out all the stuff we got, like I bleed gas and oil, and that's what I needed for this one, because when I bled gas and oil, that makes 2-cycle mix, which is what I put in there. Follow me with your Lawn-Boy Loafers on Facebook, Instagram, and soon to be banned TikTok. Time's running out. TikTok running out on here. Pretty soon the clock's gonna stop. And as always, there's your dinner. Woo! Lawn-Boy Loafer. Very odd grass cutting machine. And it works. I can't find anything wrong with it, Jesse. It runs fine. Maybe you just bumped the switch off when you were running it.
No, I know how to operate my own equipment, all right? I'm not an idiot, babe. I work with this stuff every day, all day long, okay?
Yeah? Well, regardless, it's running now. So you're gonna have to pay me for my time for looking at it.
Pay you for what? You didn't even do anything. Why would I pay you for something that I could have just done myself?
Well, then why didn't you, babe?
Because you're the professional, honey. I'm just trying to help you keep the lights on in this dump.
Dump? Well, if that's how you feel, take your stuff somewhere else. Don't come around here no more.
Oh, here we go with the bad attitude again. You know what? Just give me the weed whacker, okay? I gotta go. I don't have time for this Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, you're right, Jesse. You gotta go. Next time, take your stuff over to Gordy's to get it repaired, 'cause you're not welcome here no more, Jesse.